What is going on, everybody? Chris Grant here with Saul or at Saul Sells Stuff. You've probably seen him on Twitter. And today we are going to be chatting a little bit about Storefront Stalker Pro. This is I don't know, it's an old tool reimagined, if you will, that we
Perfect words.
are relaunching. And we want to tell you a little bit about it, let you know how you can make money from it, and what the future plans are for this particular product, because it's going to be something that evolves over time. At least we like to think so. So, Saul, what's going on, man? Thanks for hanging out with me.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's Black Friday today, so I know that you're not gonna. There's no date showing, but we are dedicated. We're doing this instead of sourcing. I think that says a lot. Like
Right.
we really we believe in what we built here, and I'm excited for people to get to see it.
Absolutely. Yeah, plus it's been kind of fun to kind of have an idea and then see it,
It's.
turn into
I
something.
went back. I looked. I don't know if you've looked. I mean, this took months. It took. I think it took a lot longer than we anticipated when we started. I think it's something like six and
Yep.
a half months of
Yeah.
iteration and building.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. Uh, I didn't realize it's been that long, but that's okay. It was worth it, and hopefully you guys see the value in this as well, because we think it's pretty cool. So, Storefront Stalker Pro is what it's called. And for those of you old heads who've been around for a while, you may remember Storefront Stalker Pro. My business partner, my buddy Nate, he created it, and it was a Google Chrome extension, and it would allow you to download the ASINs from storefronts, and then you could run them through tactical arbitrage. You could go through them manually, whatever you wanted to do. But it kind of gave you a way to gather data rather than having to click through every single page on an Amazon storefront. And that then turned into Tactical Expander, and it got some other features. And so Storefront Stalker Pro just kind of quietly went to its grave for a while. But it's now resurrected, and it has kind of caught up with the times. And it's now a software platform, a web app, if you will, rather than having to just have an extension. And this does a whole lot more. Um, and we should probably talk a little bit about why we decided to build this. So, Saul, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think to your kind of going back to the history of it you just talked about, this isn't a new idea, uh, but it's even more effective today than it was 5, 6 years ago, whenever the first one
Hmm.
came about. And I think what we've noticed is a lot of tools over that time period have evolved and adapted and become really interesting and really cool with Discord being integrated into a ton of things and just kind of the tech. And it felt like storefront stocking, it was a little bit lagging. It just kinda left behind in the dust, and, people almost forgot about it a little bit. I think it had its moment on Twitter even, and it just now it's kinda moved on from there, and we wanted to kind of pick it up, dust it off, and say, "Hey, this is still a viable model, still a viable thing that you can do to make money, but we wanna make it just so much easier to use, so much more effective." And that's obviously what we set out to do, and I think that's what we did. Um, we kind of even pulled in elements from some of people's favorite platforms like tactical arbitrage and these other things even Keepa, like they're used to using, and said, all right, let's like build those into this. So it's almost like a bit like a one-stop shop, um,
Hmm.
for the user to go and say, okay, I'm gonna stock some stores. Um, and now is the perfect time to launch it because it's effective on all kinds of sellers, but it's like super powered during high FBM seasons. And
Yeah.
now is that time of year where you're going to see a ton of people FBMing that maybe don't normally, and stalking those storefronts, getting the right users in there. It's just like a cheat code. It's kind of like the best world when you start a new job and it's that first day and you're like, I don't know how to do anything, and you get partnered with that perfect employee. The guy's been there for 10 years and knows everything and super nice, and you get to kind of peer over his shoulder and he's non-judgmental and he just kind of shows you the ropes. I almost feel like finding the right storefront to stock is a little bit like that. You get to like peer into the life of the seller that's doing it right and learn a ton from them in the process.
Hmm. And we're gonna get to like how to find these unicorns, if you will, um,
Mhm.
because I know that some people have said, "Oh, well, I don't know what storefronts to stalk, but I think it's a lot easier than what people, think. And we'll get to that in a minute. But I know one of the reasons I wanted to do this is actually these kind of softwares or programs, like they're out there. I don't think they're as good as what we've built, but there are competitors for this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Uh, but they're Discord based, and for me, that's fine. For you, that might be fine. But I don't think it's the best presentation for this kind of tool. It would be much better if you can do it on a web-based app, maybe have it mobile friendly, which, of course, is something that we made sure to build in. I know that I'm not someone who sources on mobile ever, but you do.
Oh
So
man, 99%.
yeah, that's so crazy. See, that it blows my mind, to be honest. Um, but I think that having it web based rather than Discord based is going to be a big win. And by doing that, it's going to allow us a lot more flexibility in the future as to what we add to it, which I think
Yep.
will be really really powerful.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, data's king,
uh,
right? I mean, at the end of the day,
exactly.
data, and that's I love Discord, but that's the one side. It's like it's a blip and it's lost, and
Hmm.
we collect all that data for you, and it's yours to do whatever you want with.
Exactly. Yeah, we've democratized it, if we want to use one of the fancy words that everyone in Silicon Valley does. Well, let's talk a little bit about how to make money from Storefront Stalker Pro. As I know, I've got a few ideas. And even this morning, while we were, having a meeting, I was like, "Oh, hey, here's a product I found that was, profitable without even having to scroll through." But I want to make sure that people can go from signing in to making money as quickly as possible. And so, I guess, what do you think some of the quick wins are?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about really narrowing in on the sellers that you are going to end up stalking. And I think that's other video series that we have and you'll get access to. But those right sellers, the ones that are manual sourcing, the ones that either are manual sourcing OA sites or going to the outlets, going to the local stores in their area. If you can narrow in on five of those, 10 of those, more the merrier, you start getting these leads that just get hand delivered to you that aren't going to get blown up. They're not going to end up on Twitter. They're not going to end up in a leads list. These are things that can sustain 10 sellers and there's three sellers in the listing and you adding on there isn't going to make a difference. And those are
Hmm.
really, really nice things. Again, you click Google, you try to find them and you buy them right away if they're FBM. And then the flip side is for the more, I would say seasoned or as you get more advanced, I think it's like just the introduction of that data. So hey, I've seen brands pop up that I've never heard of on this list. I see that this seller sells this brand and he's selling 10 of them or she's selling 10 of them. I've never heard of that brand. Clearly, there's a margin here and there's a profit. Maybe I can't find that particular product, but now I have a brand that I'm going to go search and see if I can find a store that sells that brand or that brand website. Um,
Hmm.
and one step further from that, right? Like maybe I find a product, but I can't find it today at the price of profitability, but I think I found the store that they're sourcing from. Now I'm going to set up Google Alerts, or I'm going to set up some kind of other system, and I'm going to say, okay, here's this sale that I know is going to happen eventually. It already happened once. Now I have a new site to source from, a new place to kind of log into every day and check out. It just opens you up to like kind of the back end of dozens of sellers that you normally don't get to see, even if you're not finding specific product from profit from one product. You're just kind of getting a sense of how these people source, and that just helps you so much in the long run, regardless.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so you touched on a topic that I don't know, it's really important to me. And so one of the things I try to do is I try to take all of my other experiences throughout life and think about them in the frame of an Amazon seller. And so one of the things that I sold insurance for years before I ever sold anything on the internet. And one of the things that was really important was a tickler file. Now, I'm not a big fan of the name. Sounds weird, but it's a file of names that you're going to call on in the future. And I think that one of the most powerful things you can do as an Amazon seller is create one of these types of files for leads. And I've heard people say already, well, if I storefront stalk, they've already bought the product. It was already on sale. I've missed it. And they're completely missing the fact that sales are cyclical in, I don't know, maybe 90% of the cases. Like sites have these sales just over and over again. They're typically not one off ever. If I'm trying to think
Rarely.
of any site that, yeah, that has ever really
I think
done a
if it's
kind
a
of a one-off sale.
discontinuation, yeah, something's like retiring or
Yeah.
no longer existing, they'll kind of put on a final sale of
So
it.
for me, I think one of the most powerful things is as long as you have a few good storefronts, and I haven't even filled up 10 spaces in my own account yet. But as long as you have a few good storefronts, you can make sure that you're saying, oh, well, this person's probably getting this particular beauty product from the actual brand site. So I could set a Google price alert, or, this product has tanked really quickly. So, but I know where I can get it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and set a keep alert to be notified when the number of sellers comes back down. And then, I mean, you're essentially turning yourself into a Saul where you just wake up in the morning with alerts on your phone and you've got profitable products to find. Uh, so I think,
Yeah.
in my opinion, that's going to be one of the most powerful things that comes out of using Storefront Stalker.
Right. This isn't necessarily a Storefront Stalker conversation, but I want to touch on it briefly because you mentioned the idea that people are like, oh, that product's already been purchased and sold, and that profit is gone into the wind somewhere. Like that's, and I think that's the mentality that I see, and that's the mentality I had for a long time. This 95% mentality of like scarcity. I think that's truly what it comes down to, and it doesn't really get unlocked for most people until they go into like. I mean, for me, it's like going into like a Target, a Walmart, a grocery store. uh, I'll give you a real world example today. Target's running a sale on vinyl, buy two get one free. Um, every Target I go to, and I've been to many, has the same vinyls on the shelf. And there's a couple of vinyls they probably have 15 of, 20 of every store. So I've probably seen 400 of these vinyls in a day. They are still profitable on Amazon. I can buy them in Target, I can sell them on Amazon. And I think once you like realize like it doesn't have to be this like honey hole. It doesn't have to be like this small little site that no one's ever heard of that turns profitability. And people are buying on Amazon at your prices because it's convenient, and
Hmm.
because they can return things easier, and because they don't want to shop around. Then you kind of look blue ocean. Then it's like, you know what? I don't need to like, oh man, this one seller is selling this thing probably on a site that I can't possibly find, or on the it's like 99% of the people you're seeing are sourcing from Kohl's and Ulta and Sephora and like these big stores, and they have these like beautiful like yeah like small sites, but those sites are on the third page of Google. Like it's very very rare that you have a seller that's crushing it only using websites or stores that no one's ever heard of.
Hmm.
And once you kind of like realize that, I think you start looking at this information as viable, all of it, and you want to kind of be on top of the next sale that's about to happen.
Exactly. Um, let's touch on how to find storefronts. Someone comes in and they're like, I don't know how to figure out what
Mhm.
storefront I should stock. What would you do in their case?
The first question I usually ask people, because we've had this conversation, is like, how do you find the products that you're actively selling now? Like, what are
Hmm.
you doing to source? I think one of the best places to start is your own products. Go look at your storefront on Keepa, click on any one of your products, and look at who else is selling that. There's a chance that they're purchasing from the same place you are. And if they are, they're probably selling similar products to you or sourcing in similar ways. And maybe that's someone that you could kind of naturally find leads from because they're not doing anything out of the ordinary. You're already doing what they're doing. They're just sourcing a little bit differently or taking more time. I am a big A2A fan, as you know. And so for me, I also, I like exclusives. I'm going to find sellers that are selling Amazon exclusive products because I
Hmm.
know those sellers are A2A. The only way to get them is Amazon. And I want to see what else, because there's a ton of A2A replens. And so if I can latch on to a couple of these sellers and like, hey, this is either a replan or a deem bundle opportunity that I missed because I know they're doing A2A, that's where I'm going to source from. Um, we could tie in even you're going to have to help me because I'm blanking on the name of the software, but the one that kind of helps you find sellers in your area locally.
Smart Scout.
Smart Scout, which is having a day right now. Smart Scout, if you're doing RA, that's a great tool too. Because
Hmm.
I used to live about 2 miles from an outlet, and on Smart Scout it showed me there was a person like 5 miles away, and I looked at their store and it was all Adidas. And I was like, okay, so I would storefront stock them because I know they're going to that outlet. They're buying Adidas. Maybe they didn't buy everything, or maybe I can go. I'm willing to drive a little bit farther than them, and I can go to the outlet in time over. And now I have this full list of products to purchase. So that's my strategy when I'm trying to fill up my
Hmm.
lists.
Yeah, I think that's one way to use Smart Scout. The other is you could just uh, search for the stores that are selling multiple brand, selling 15, 20 different brands that, maybe
Hmm.
have less than 500 reviews or something like that lifetime. That would be an easy way to find some arbitrage sellers. Uh, but I think the most powerful is just looking through Keepa at the sellers, the historical sellers that are selling the same products as you, uh, which I know you touched on earlier. But I think that one thing people don't do quite often enough is actually look at the historical sellers. They just look at the ones that are
The little
currently selling
checkbox.
on the listing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could take you from 40 sellers to 500 sellers really quickly on certain products. Uh, and then there's just a ton of that's actually how I found probably 80% of the storefronts that I have
Oh,
saved is
he's
that
giving
method.
the sauce.
So, and there'll be videos on how to do that. Uh, what I guess maybe we should talk a little bit about like the future plans. Actually, you know what? Maybe we ought to show what it looks like right now so people can see,
Yeah.
hey, this is
If you
what it's going to look like. So we'll pop this up here, and it really is a fairly simple dashboard. We wanted to make sure that it was easy to use and things like that. So what you do is you come in and you're going to see add a storefront at the top right hand corner. You click on that and you can type in a seller ID. It should allow links here pretty soon, so you can actually just put in,
hmm
the link to a seller storefront. And then once you do that, we check it every 4 hours for you automatically. You don't have to do anything. It'll check, and if there are new ASINs in that storefront, then you'll get an email, and those ASINs will show up right here. And I get an email every 4 hours with the storefronts that I've chosen to stalk so far, and it lets me know, hey, you've got 3 new ASINs. You've got, I think the most I've seen so far is about 420. Must have been a big day for some fulfillment center. And then you can come in and you can actually see a list based on when they were most recently added. You get to see the title, an image. We've got the brand. If Amazon is sharing how many units are sold monthly, we pull in that data. So you can see that not every product is like that, but a lot of them are. So this one here, this advent calendar, is said Amazon said 7,000 have been sold in the past month. It's probably more than that, but that's a pretty solid number. Uh, you can see the sales rank, how many offers are on the listing, the buy box price, and the type. So whether it's Amazon or FBA or FBM, how long Amazon or how much Amazon's been out of stock over the past 90 days, and how much they've been out of stock over the last 30 days. And then, of course, we pull the UPC information for you as well. Uh, and it becomes really, really simple. So let's look at this Barbie item here. This Barbie Advent calendar, it's at 25.49. You can click open the Amazon page here. You can see 25.49 for this particular item. Amazon is the one who's on it at the moment. You can come back, you can click the Google button. That's going to take you to Google Shopping, and it's going to be sorted by relevance. So you can see where you can actually pick one of these up pretty quickly. And you keep scrolling down, and there's more offers as well. This I have usually used just regular Google searches, but Google Shopping has been really, really good to me over the past couple of weeks while we've been kind of putting this through its paces. The next thing you can do is you can actually do a Google Lens search. If you're not familiar with what Google Lens is, it's basically Google's version of image matching. So you click on Google Lens and it's going to pop out over here. It's going to do a Google Lens search to try to find some more places for this. So you can see you've got eBay. Looks like someone might have some, this might be a blog post, but it's a WordPress site. And then we've got all these other options down here as well. You can open this up on Keepa. So if you want to see this product on the Keepa page itself. And there is, of course, a Seller Amp integration. So if you want to open this up in Seller Amp, which I'm not sure why that didn't open up there for me. Let's try this one. There we go. You can open this up in your Seller Amp dashboard to take a deeper look at some of the information that they have available to you as well. And that's really about it. All you've got to do is come in here and check when you get the emails, do some searches, and if you can't find the product at a price that is profitable, you can set Google alerts. So we'll actually do one here really quick. Let's do this hat here. So I always open up the Amazon page first, and then I hit my Google search, and we can see that on Amazon, this thing is $33.49, no buy box. If we go over to Google, let's see which one that is. Blue with gray. It's Elkmont. Looks like Beals. Nope, not the right one. Not quite.
It's like red crabs.
Yeah. Elkmont Trading Company. So we've got Elkmont here. I would need to go and do some due diligence to see whether or not this is a legitimate site, but let's just say that it is. It's 30 bucks. It's not going to be profitable based on the $33. But one of the things I can do here is two things have happened for me. One, I've found a new site. I've never heard of Elkmont Trading Company before. Says they were established in 1995. They might have some things that are profitable that I could purchase from. But the other thing is I can just set a Google alert here and track the price. So now whenever this product goes down in price on this site, Google will let me know. And I'll get an email, and I'll also get a pop-up on my phone that lets me know that the price has dropped. And something I just found out today is that Google's actually scouring the rest of the internet for price drops on this product elsewhere. So I tracked another product the other day from a brand site. It was a Tarte product, and Tarte ended up having a sale. 2 days later, QVC put the product on sale, and I got that alert from Google Shopping or Google Price Tracking as well. So it's a powerful free tool that's built right into Google for you. Anything I'm missing, Saul?
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some additional columns um, in like the filtering section that they can add, and there will be more in the future.
Yep.
But for right now, and this is exactly how I use it, and I mainly look at the total offers, the sales rank, the product itself, and then I kind of pick and choose from there which ones I want to target first.
Yeah. That I'll tell you, that's one of the things we should mention. I've got a lot of ASINs. I'm getting probably 100 or 150 new ones per day from the storefronts that I'm stalking. And so in the
Yeah.
filters, if I want, I can create any filter that I'm looking for. So for example, if I want to come in here and I want to see the items that were added between, we'll do on or before 11 20 2023. I can do that. And then I can filter even more if I want to. So maybe I only want to see items that have sold. Uh, we'll do we'll do greater than or equal. That's less than or equal to. We'll do greater than or equal to 50. All right. And now I'm down to just the items that were added 11/20 or before, uh, or later,
or
sorry, and
after.
the
Yeah.
items that are, yeah, or after, and that are selling 50 or more every single month.
Yeah. And what you
Uh,
noticed, I want to point out, I think some people are going to geek out at this, but most won't care as much. Um, there was no loading time. That was
yeah.
instant. Like this thing is built to instantly load all of your data. It is no like sitting there waiting for things to spin. It is about as crisp as you can get. And look at that. Like you almost didn't notice that it happened.
Yeah. It's gone. I'm all back to no filters now. And so I don't know. In my opinion, this is going to be an incredibly powerful tool, especially right now. Like Saul said, it is Black Friday. We could come in here and we could say, you know what? Let's do buy box type. We'll do equals. We'll do FBM, and it looks like I don't have any right now. But let's
No,
say
yeah.
FBA. Well, there we go. I've got a ton of just FBA sellers only here.
Or no, I mean you could look at no buy box, which is interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next step to this is like this, as we talked about at the beginning, this data is yours. So all this data stays here. Is from the minute it shows up, you have 30 days before it gets auto deleted. That's 30 days to do whatever you want with it. And one of the things you can do with it is export it. So we have an easy export feature. You can export the entire thing. You could export just specific rows. If you create a filter view and then hit export, you just export what you filtered. You can run then that through tactical arbitrage. You can save that for your VA to look through at another date. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you can do whatever you want with it, and that's one of the things that we really wanted to stress is this tool isn't just, hey, here's some stuff to look at once and forget about. It's really like here's all of the information that caters to what you have set up it to be, and you can kind of play with that for the remainder of however long you want. Even if you delete
Mm-hmm.
storefronts, that data is yours. So if you go in and
Yeah.
delete a storefront, we don't delete that data. That's still in your table for you to use.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think this is going to be going to help people make a fair amount of money, and become stronger at sourcing over time. Now, we should probably talk a little bit about what the future plans are for this software, because we're not just gonna build it here and then quit. There are some ideas we have going forward. So, Saul, what do you think?
Well, I was done with it after today, man. I was like, oof, just split. No, yeah. So we've been testing this for a while now, and we feel like we got to a place where we are making money using it every day. Our beta testers are making money using it every day, but obviously there's so much more that can be done. So the next one, I can't put this in order of what's going to happen, but one of the next things that we'd like to do um, is help people automatically find new storefronts to
Mhm.
store. So let's say you're on our 10 storefront plan and you have five and you're crushing it with those five, but you feel like you've hit a wall. Like, I don't know how to find the next five, or like, I don't know, what to do after that. Ideally, we're going to be able to suggest storefronts to you that fit similar. So, hey, you have these five. We're kind of seeing what storefronts you like. Here's another two that we recommend that you start looking at because they're very similar products. We also want to make it easier for people to kind of batch their storefronts. So maybe you added someone because of a very specific reason. Right now, they just kind of come in as generic storefront names. We want you to be able to get custom nicknames and group people. Like these are my FBM storefronts, and you can kind of create simple views to see like different things as they go. Um, and then we obviously have Google Lens and Google here, but I mean, how cool would it be if you didn't always have to leave this page to decide which products to source or even find where to source from. So I think being able to pull in some of that Google Shopping data directly into here would be
Mhm.
wonderful, as well as helping people make some decisions on which ones to click. To your point, you get 1,000 a day. You could certainly click on all of them, but you want to find a way to like narrow in on the ones that make sense for you. And I think one of the simplest ways to do that is to kind of use the data we have and say, hey, these are the ones that are on the rise. These are some ASINs that are actively increasing in price. Um, or here's some ones that, you know, are getting kind of experience the pinch soon. We predict the sellers are going up, the price is coming down. You know, we want you to have that information before you have to click anywhere. So there's so many, and you'll have an active roadmap that you guys can view and kind of get a sense of where we are in that plan. But hopefully, any of those sound exciting enough to to hang around.
Yeah. And and on top of this, we are going to have a community because we want to make sure that you understand not only how to use the product, but how to be a better seller, how to be a better sourcer for your Amazon products. And so there are several smart people who are in there helping. Saul's one of them. I'm one of them, and then several others. Plus, the community itself will, I know, will end up sharing tips and wins and even difficulties. And we're going to be listening to the community feedback. That's where we've gotten actually we've gotten a lot of good
Mhm.
feedback already with beta testers, and we are trying very hard to iterate quickly,
Oh,
you know,
it's
as we go. So,
it is impressively fast, even for our standards. Our guys behind the
right,
scenes, he is so quick.
yeah, yeah, he's he I don't know, the guy blows my mind, to be quite honest. So, and lucky to have him on the team. But
Yeah.
there are going to be some cool things coming down the road, and if you come up with an idea, we'll definitely take it under advisement and may add it to the roadmap as well. Because if it's good for the community, then it's good for us. So, anything we missed or we should cover before we wrap this thing up?
I don't think so. I know it wouldn't be easy for you to show it, but I do want people to know that the mobile view is so good. Um, to Chris's point earlier, I think that it's really designed to give you a lot of the same functionality that you see here on desktop. Everything
Hmm.
shrinks down to cards. You can kind of click them open and see all the information. All the action buttons are still there. It is very easy and very smooth. So no,
Yeah,
I'm
I
excited for people
agree.
to get into it. I'm excited to get that feedback and continue to improve it. But it's just, we talked today. It's been a process, and it's just going to be nice
Hmm.
to kind of see it be put to use.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you know, one of the most important things we forgot to even cover, we should talk about price a little bit. Because, of course,
Mhm.
price is always a consideration when it comes to adding a tool to your toolkit. And one of the things that we tried really, really hard to do is to make sure that this wasn't going to break the bank, but also make sure that we weren't going to go into debt for the data that we have to pay for and things like that. So, uh, Storefront Stalker Pro starts at $60 a month. That'll get you 10 storefronts that you can stalk. And like I said, I'm stalking fewer than 10 right now, and I'm getting, you know, 400 or 500 ASINs per day. So you can get, we don't limit you on the number of ASINs that you can get, although you cannot stalk storefronts that have over 5,000 ASINs. That's not really what this is meant for anyway. You know, it's meant for those several hundred ASIN storefronts that are, you know, quickly replenishing because that's where the online arbitrage sweet spot really is. Uh, I think there's also a 20 stores per month plan. Uh,
Yep.
what was the price on the 20 stores per month?
I want to say that's 100.
I think that sounds right.
Or it could be. Look at this. We don't even know.
Right?
I want to say it's 100, but we can confirm that very quickly.
That's
Um,
90.
90. Yeah, even cheaper. Look at
90,
90, and then
$90 per
140 is
month.
the last one.
Yeah, 140, and that'll get you 40 stores, and you can track up to 40 stores, and you get 4 hour updates on every single one of those. And
Mhm.
I know that we're gonna have one thing that pops up. People are gonna be like, "Oh, well, you know, that's not fast enough." And we had that conversation already because I know that there are some competitors who say, "Oh, well, you can get up to 30-minute refreshes. You can get up to 2 hour refreshes." And we really dug into the data, and that actually doesn't do any good for you. Uh, it's just the data doesn't come fast enough from anywhere to really be able to update faster than every 4 hours. And so we just decided just to leave it at that and give everybody the same speed rather than try to upcharge for something faster and waste your money. So,
Yeah. And then one final thing to note on those tiers, the tiers obviously are structured by store, but they're not structured by overall ASINs. So while
mhm,
each store, you can't have a single store that's at the when you load it in, it can't have over 5,000 ASINs. Um, but once your stores are in, there is no limit to the amount of ASINs that we will pull in for you, which is something that was really important to us too, because we know that there are some other similar companies that do that. And if you're stacking 9 or 10 stores, and all of a sudden they hit just a crazy FBM spree, they all go out to the outlets, they all buy 1,000 products. We want you to get all that information. We're not going to say, hey, you
mhm.
can only have a total of 10,000 ASINs in your list. You know, it'll scale infinitely. Um, so you don't have to worry when you're adding stores if you're going to ever hit a cap in that regard.
Exactly. Now, this is the part where there's going to be a call to action. If you are interested in trying this out, I believe, what did we decide on?
It's a 7 day
Was it
free
a
trial.
7 day trial? Yeah. So
Yep.
go to storefrontstalkerpro.com. You can get a 7 day free trial to get in there and test it out. If you have questions, you can reach out directly to me. I am at Clear the Shelf on Twitter, and the DMs are open. You can email me at chris@cleartheshelf.com or hit me up on any social media platform. I make sure to answer every single message that I get. And I know that you can also reach out to Saul. Saul,
Yeah.
what's the best place to reach you?
Probably Twitter if you're not kind of in the trial yet. Once you start the trial, you'll get access to our Discord that exists, and you can tag me all day in there. As we talked about, I source from my phone, I live on my phone. I don't want to show you my screen time on my phone. So yeah, if not in there, Twitter, if in the Discord, tag me all day.
Yeah. Yeah, Apple wonders how you get 27 hours of screen time in 24 hours a day.
It's a secret, don't tell them.
Right. But no, go check out Storefront Stalker Pro. I really don't think you'll be disappointed. And if you have questions on it, make sure to let us know. We'll be more than happy to answer and help any way we can. So storefrontstalkerpro.com. And that's it for this, guys. We'll see you in some educational content we'll be making here for you very soon.
Thanks, everyone.